All right, today we're starting a new chapter, chapter 4, and we are going to talk about triangles. Somebody in the other class said, oh, going back to kindergarten, right? I'm like, don't think so. This is not what you learned in kindergarten. Now, there is going to be a lot of stuff that we learned today that you have learned already. All right, so a lot of stuff should look familiar to you. It's nothing real difficult. A lot of it's just kind of vocabulary kind of stuff. So just know the words and know what these things mean. That's a big part of what we're going to do right here. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about basically two different categories of triangles. One, we're going to say this. This is a word that they're going to say classify each triangle or classify the triangle. Now here's a symbol for triangle, so I don't have to write the word triangle every single time. Wonder why that's the symbol for triangle. Because it looks like a triangle, right? So classify the triangles. What do they say? Classify the by their. Well, that's going to be one, but we're going to do the angles first. By their angles. All right, that's the first one we're going to do. We're going to talk about triangles. We're going to name them by the type of angles that are in the triangles. Okay, exactly. So let's go with this one right here. Just happen to have a triangle here. Isn't that amazing? Let's do this before we do this, let's do a little preface work, okay? You know, beforehand kind of stuff, before we actually talk about classifying the triangles by their angles. First of all, a triangle has, now what do you think the word triangle means? Three what? Angles. Okay, very good. All right, so they made that pretty easy to understand that word, right? So here's my three angles. So it's got three angles. Let's list the three angles. What would they be? Angles what? Angle A, angle B, and angle what? C. Now you can just get away with calling this just angle A, can't you? Because there's only one angle coming out of that vertex right there. What if I wanted to use more than one letter for that? What else would I call angle A? Angle what? I could call this angle AB. Think about this. BAC. I can't call this angle AB because you have to have 3 points first of all, don't you? And the vertex has to be in the middle. So this is line segment AB, but I'm talking about the angle itself. This angle right here, what would I call it? Not angle BA or angle AB, CAB or BAC. All right, that's what I would call that angle. What could I call angle B instead of just angle B if I wanted to? Angle what? ABC or CBA. What about this angle C right here? ACB or not CAB. I can't call this CAB. Come on. C has to be in the middle. Yeah. I feel the same way, Jake. The vertex has to be in the middle. I can't call this angle right here CAB, can I? I can't call it that. I have to call it either what? ACB or BCA, right? Or I could just call it angle C, since there's no other angles coming out of it. Now, you're not always going to have a triangle that's nice and pretty like this without other angles coming out of it. But in this situation, I could just call this angle A, angle B, or angle C. These angles right here, they're formed by two lines that hit at a point, at a common point. We call that a vertex. Now, vertex is not an angle. What's a vertex? You've already talked about a vertex before. What's that? It's a point. Very good. It's a point. So what are the three vertices? Remember, that's the plural for vertex. What are the three vertices of that triangle? A, B, and C. Now, if I just put an A by itself, that means automatically point A, doesn't it? Don't just put an A and expect it to mean angle A. If you mean angle A, put an angle symbol in front of it. If you mean point A, just put an A, and that means point A. You follow me? So I've got three vertices, don't I? I also have these segments. These segments are called sides. We call those the sides of the triangle. Well, we also called them sides of an angle, didn't we? Remember we talked about angles? So we have sides of a triangle. Let's not do that. So what are the sides of the triangle then? Let's talk about this side right here. What would I call that side right there? Just side AB, or line segment, right? Or segment AB. Just 2 points, right? If I'm gonna call this segment something, I just use 2 points. I could call it AB. If I wanted to, I could call it what else? No, this segment right here. BA. I could call it BA. Now watch. Call this AB. What would this one right here be? AC. Put a line segment over top of it. And then what about this bottom one? BC. Put a segment over top of that. So those are my sides. Just so that we're on the same page, we're talking the same language, right? These are angles, they're vertices, and we got 3 sides. Got it? All right, enough of that. That's pretty simple. Now let's what's that? It is going to be on the tube. Let's go back to this same triangle. Now, with all that said, remember I said earlier we're going to classify it by its angles. Let's write that down one more time since I erased it. Classify by, we'll say, its angles. All right. Well, we got to know what we're talking about before we even classify them. We basically have 4 different words we're going to use. Look at this angle, or this triangle right here. Look at all 3 angles. Look at this angle, this one, and this one. Tell me about all 3 of those angles. What kind? They're acute angles, aren't they? All right. And we've learned about that. That's something we learned back in chapter 1 or something like that. All right. They're all 3 acute angles. So watch. They're all 3 acute angles. If I have a triangle and all 3 of them, not just 2 of them, not 1 of them, but all 3 of them are acute angles, what kind of triangle do you think I'll call this? An acute triangle. All right, so acute triangle. All right, that's the word. It's an acute triangle. Follow me? It's not cute, like, oh, look how cute it is. All right, it's not like that. It's acute. It's an acute triangle. All right, enough of that. Let's do another type of triangle. You're kind of getting the idea already, aren't you? So what do you think this triangle is going to be called? Now let's think about this. I want to look at this. What's this angle right here going to be? That's an acute angle. What's this angle up top here going to be? That's an acute angle. So is it an acute triangle? I got 2 acute angles. I got more acute than I have anything else, right? Right. It's not all 3, though, is it? It's not all 3 acute angles. Look at this big old angle right here. What kind of angle is that? It's an obtuse angle. So if you have one, let's not talk, please, let's listen. If you have one obtuse angle, that's enough. Not 2, not 3, only 1. One obtuse angle makes this what kind of a triangle? An obtuse what? Triangle. Very good. Okay? An obtuse triangle just has how many? 1 obtuse angle. Look, could you even have 2 obtuse angles? No, because watch. What if this line right here went like this to make an obtuse? Could you even make a triangle out of it? You couldn't even make a triangle out of it, could you? So you can't have more than 1 obtuse angle. Everybody with me on that? You can only have 1. If you have 1 obtuse angle, then it's an obtuse triangle. Where else do you think we're going to go with this? Good call. Because back in the day, earlier in the year, when we talked about different angles, we talked about acute angles, obtuse angles, right angles, didn't we? Now we're going to just... Is this a right triangle right here? No. Why not? Sure looks like one. That looks straight up and down.
You don't know until you draw the box, Mr.
Exactly. Thank you very much. You don't know it's a right angle until you say it's a right angle. If you put the little box right there, now is it a right? Yeah. Is that a right angle? Absolutely. How many right angles do you think you can have in a triangle? You can only have 1 for the same reasoning, kind of the same reasoning as we have the obtuse. So watch, we have 1 right angle, all right, which means what kind of a triangle is this? It's a right triangle. It's not a triangle. We're talking triangles, aren't we? This is not squares. It's triangles. So you can only have 1 right angle if you're going to have a right triangle. Can you have 1 right angle and 1 obtuse angle?
Yes, you can.
Think first. You just say things without thinking. It just goes from your brain. There must be like a super highway from your brain to your mouth, and well, not even from your brain. I don't know. So no, you can't have an obtuse and a right. I mean, think about it. Watch, if I had, there's an obtuse, right? And what if I wanted a right? Could I make a triangle? Could I make a triangle? I mean, no, that keeps getting further away than this, doesn't it? You could never get a triangle out of this, could you? No. All right, there's no way. So you cannot have 1 obtuse and 1 right in the same triangle because you wouldn't have a triangle. You got it? All right. Let's do another one. I got to scoot over here, grab this, and put it right here. Everybody watching this?
Yes, sir.
Now, I made this the other day, And I made this so that all three angles are exactly the same. So this angle equals this one equals this one right here. So watch. All three angles are equal or congruent. So we call this an what?
Lateral.
Lateral? Lateral means angles? What means angles?
Equal angle.
Angular, right. Not lateral. Lateral means sides. Equiangular. So I'm classifying these by their angles, not by their sides. So it's equiangular. This is an equiangular triangle. What does that mean? It means all three angles are equal to each other. Shh. Let's stop all the comments, please. I put the arcs there. The arcs mean they're all equal to each other. That has one, this has one, this has one. That's kind of like my tick marks. Okay? So there we go. Those are 4 different types of triangles, and we classified them by their angles. So listen to me. You're going to have a question on the quiz and on the test where it says, it gives you a triangle, and it's going to say, classify this triangle by its sides and by its angles. So far, we know how to classify them by their angles, don't we? Okay. Now what are we going to do? We're going to classify them by their what? Their sides. Okay. So let's pause this, and we'll go to another video.